Good afternoon and welcome to Unsinkable's Fireside Chat series. Today's Fireside Chat is collaboratively brought to you by GoodLife Fitness and Unsinkable in honor of Mental Health Week, where we will be discussing today's topic, Unmasking Self-Care Myths, what mental wellness really looks like. We are increasingly exposed to the Instagram perfect version of self-care versus the messy, practical realities of maintaining mental health. And this can lead to harmful or misleading self-care myths, such as that self-care is expensive. Today, we will explore how small, consistent actions contribute to mental well-being. What does self-care look like when life gets tough? And without any further ado, I am going to be introducing our first panelist for the discussion, Eddie Panting. So Eddie has been in the fitness industry for 13 years, working as a personal trainer and educator, and as a personal training divisional manager for GoodLife. Eddie is passionate about breaking stigmas in the men's mental health space and is a certified trauma specialist. Thanks for being here today, Eddie.
Thank you so much.
And next up, we have Kelly Musovic. She's the senior director in the experience and safety of GoodLife Fitness, a wife and mother of two. Kelly has over 16 years in the industry as a professional and more than 18 years in high-level athletics. She's passionate about creating pace setters in the fitness industry who can help others flourish in their fitness career, with a special spotlight on establishing female leaders who can inspire future generations to be strong and health-minded. Hello, Kelly.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Kenny Mapindu, who is an unsinkable champion and on his way to be a Canadian bobsleigh athlete at the Canada 2026 Winter Olympics. A driven and disciplined competitor, his athletic journey is marked by a relentless work ethic and a commitment to overcoming adversity, including significant injuries and financial challenges of competing in a self-funded sport. Hi, Kenny.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Hey,
It's going good. Thanks for being here.
thank you, appreciate it, thank you.
And lastly, we have with us Maria Estrada, a passionate mental health advocate, speaker, educator, and professional child and youth counselor specializing in mental health and addiction. Having immigrated to Canada as a child, Maria faced mental health challenges and stigma firsthand. This led her on a journey of self-advocacy, diagnosis, relapse, and ultimately recovery. Now, Maria uses her personal story to support others. Hi, Maria. Thank you for being here with us today. And Maria is also my colleague at Unsinkable, and I'm glad to have you here today as well. And me, my name is Afreina. I am a storyteller, spoken word artist, and community leader dedicated to amplifying diverse voices in mental health advocacy, and I will be your host for today. I am hosting this discussion from traditional territories of many First Peoples, Jojage, which is what Ganagahaga and now many others call Montreal. Before I dive into our discussion, I'd like to mention to you, the audience, that we will be monitoring the chat and you can leave your question and answers in the Q&A box and we'll be responding around 12:45 p.m. Behind the scenes, we have our Unsinkable team member, Taylor, our operations coordinator, who will be monitoring the chat and questions and also sharing a list of resources at the end of the conversation. Now, I'm going to start with our very first question, which I really want to know why. So this is open to all our panelists and we can go whoever wants to go first, and feel free to just unmute all of yourselves if you want to. So the first question is, what's one self-care myth you wish you could throw in the garbage forever and why? Kenny, let's go.
Yeah, I guess I'm first up. I guess I unmuted myself first. My, but yeah, but for me, so that would be as I would just like self-care, but as I would just but like could be um um uh, tre- treating yourself, but yeah, as of just but like sometimes, but like self-care can also be tough as well too, I would say. And after that, but as of just doing something that that you keep on just like um uh putting off as well too, so I would say so.
All right. And I think, okay, Maria, did you want to go or did Kelly? I didn't see who had unmuted themselves earlier, so whoever wants to chime in.
I can go. Thank you, Kenny, for kicking us off. Um, I think for me, one of the biggest things is telling people what they should be doing. Because I hear that especially for me, like I get a lot of shoulds. And I don't think anybody needs to
Mm.
say what another person needs, because
Mhm.
everybody is their own expert. And I think like I just wish that I could just get this thing and just throw it out. Because I am my own expert and I know what I need and I know myself. So yeah, that's one of the things that I would just throw away, burn it, disappear.
Yeah, thinking that you know what's better for others. Okay. All right. Kelly?
Yeah, thank you. My self-care myth that I'd really like to see thrown out is that all like self-care is really about doing like those pleasurable activities like massages or shopping or something like that. When for me, anyways, the truth is like it can sometimes involve those things for sure. But that's not the be all and end all of it. Like self-care for me is really like a whole wide range of activities that promote physical, mental, emotional well-being, everything from sleep to hobbies that you enjoy to, watching your favorite movie for the 15th time, right? So that myth to me is like just people just think it's so out of reach sometimes, and I would love to debunk that myth and toss it in the trash.
I like that. Eddie?
Yeah, to piggyback Kelly, I think, and well, everybody that I think self-care and self-indulgence can get a little convoluted, especially on Instagram. So I agree with Kelly, that can just be thrown out. It doesn't always have to be self-indulgent type of things, but that the other one is that it's always going to work. I think that we
Mm.
start to create something, a lot of language around it, like, oh, do this. To Maria's point, it's like, do this and it's going to work. Or like to Kenny's, it's like, it's not always going to work. Sometimes you're going to be in a rough spot. You're going to do the things that typically tend to work for you. And if they don't today, that's okay too, right? There's no surefire way to always handle things like that. So I think speaking in certainties can create some yeah, maybe a little unexpected unexpected disappointment sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great segue into the next question, really. And that is that social media, it will often show like self-care as a spa day or expensive routines or like rituals, it seems really elaborate almost. Like if you want to do self-care, these are the ways to be able to do it. And if you're not doing it this way, then it's not self-care. I mean, that could also be self-care for people, but really it's not either or. But I want to know, like, what does self-care actually look like for you on a hard day?
Yeah, I mean, like as I go first again, But yeah, so for me, so just on a hard day, as a for me, I would usually, as a for me, as a for me, I would usually go on a walk usually. And then after that, I like to listen to some, but like music too as well.
Yeah.
Like, and then after that, like other times too as well. And after that, for me, as a self-care too. But yeah, so just like talking to my like my friends too as well. So I would say.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's really therapeutic if you can have a nice conversation, if you're able to take out the time and just like it really recharges you. A walk is, I think that's
Yeah,
really listening to music is such an easy thing. It definitely does lift your spirits.
it does, yeah.
Kelly, did you want to go?
Sure. I love that. I do enjoy taking my dog out for a walk. My like self-care when I'm on my own, so if my kids are out and husband's out kind of thing, is I absolutely love like curling up, snuggling with my dog, and I love a good murder mystery, especially like cheesy ones from the 80s. Like give me, Jessica Fletcher, Murder She Wrote any night of the week. And I can kind of just, I'm really aging myself. I can really like shut off and just kind of decompress, right? And it's a nice way to kind of unwind. I don't do it every night, obviously, but really on those tougher days when you just need to, zone out and, watch something almost like a guilty pleasure. That is my way to go. So I love that as part of my self-care routine, and I actually look forward to the tougher days, knowing that that might be the end of my tough day.
I love that, especially Murder She Wrote. I love it.
Classic, right? Who doesn't love Jessica Fletcher? Come on.
Awesome. Eddie.
Uh, yeah, I'll just steal Kenny and Kelly's. I do the same thing. I need to do something physical, so I'll go train in one of my sports, or yeah, I love music. Music can always reset me. So as Kenny said, like if I can get a little walk around and throw the headphones in, that's
Mhm.
always a great reset. And I'm a huge nerd, so I love sitting around and watching nerdy stuff at the end of the day, or saving myself 30 minutes to play a video game or watch a show or a guilty pleasure, and just um, I know we want to be cautious of the term escapism, but it does help to get out of your head a little bit sometimes and not have to think about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Maria.
Yeah. I really like what everybody said. I really like, I wish right now go for a walk. Um, but like dancing and listening to music. But I think for me, when I get to the point of if I'm burning out or if I just really am struggling, um, I know that I feel like my power has been taken away,
Mhm.
and I want to honor my feelings and honor the fact that even though it may not be a fact,
Mm.
but I also know that it's a feeling, and having the ability to choose what I need in that moment versus, having a friend and they're like, let's go out. It's really about if I need to isolate, like that's okay because that's what I need.
Mhm.
If I need to watch The Lord of the Rings for the 100th time, that's hours and hours. Um, I honor that as well. So it is really about trying to have my power and ignoring the shoulds of what other people want me to do.
I like that. I like that perspective as well, the taking your power back because it's so depleted at the end of the day, or it's a rough day that you want to really. And I like that framing as well. Okay, so what's one small, consistent habit that's helped you build mental resilience
Mm.
over time? Eddie, looks like you want to go
Oh,
for that.
yeah, I don't know if it's a small thing. Um, I just think, well, resilience in any capacity, whether it's physical, when your immune system, your muscles, your cardiovascular system, and especially your mental resilience, comes from exposure to challenges, right? So whether that's literally the only way to increase your capacity and increase your mental resilience is to face challenges to whatever degree that means to you. So whether that's, I don't know, in your work, pushing yourself to maybe achieve the next goal that you're able to. Maybe it's physical. You walked 1 block, maybe try walking a block and a half next time, or two. It doesn't have to be something monumentous, but just small. Maybe get into reading or read something a little more challenging or more thought provoking or something that isn't in your wheelhouse. Just making sure that you're doing something as often daily if possible, but small consistent challenges. I think that's the consistent part, is if you do that on a regular basis, you'll be really surprised at what your capacity increases to over time, especially when it comes to mental and emotional resilience.
Okay, so something that is outside of your comfort zone and bit by bit, every day challenging yourself. I like that.
Little bite-sized pieces.
Yeah, I think we have a sense of self-gratification when we do something that's outside of our comfort zone. Yeah, Kelly, did you want to go?
Sure. So for me, the resilience is all about preparation. So I make a lot of lists. I am very grateful for like the iPhone notes because they're so cool and you can make like little checklists and you can share your lists and all that stuff. But I actually have a list. It's Kelly's daily list, and it just has 6 things on it that are just really important to me that no matter how my day goes, if I can get these 6 things checked off, I know that I've done good for myself. And for me, that's something that's worked really well for me. So if, for example, it has like drinking water, if I get busy, I can often just like, oh my gosh, I've gone all day and I haven't had like a sip of anything. Take my dog out for a walk. I find that, as you know, Kenny already said, taking that walk for me is really important, and my dog is the cutest, so it's super nice to just have that downtime with her. I have show kindness to each person in my family, right? We're all kind of going in different directions all the time. And so if I can do something that just makes their day a little brighter, and sometimes honestly, it's just like I walked by my son's room and he didn't make his bed in the morning because he had a busy morning. So I make his bed for him. It's so minute, but it's just that, notice and do kind of idea. Banking is, which I think for me is a big deal, is on my list, right? I want to just make sure that everything makes sense with my finances. Bills are coming out as they should. Finances, I mean, anybody after like a holiday or a vacation or something like that, no one wants to check their credit cards. So by making it a daily habit, it actually takes away the stress of managing it in those bigger moments. So that's just, it's not glamorous, but it definitely helps to keep me on track just to have this little like daily checklist.
I love that. And I don't think we're going for glamour at all. We're trying to do the opposite today. So I love that completely. It's raw and honest. And then I think, Maria, you were like next. Did you want to go? Go ahead.
Um, so something that throughout therapy, um, is the ability to name my feelings. And by naming my feelings, I'm able to, one, acknowledge what I'm feeling, and also now they're real and they feel seen. And I'm not distracting myself because I did do a lot of shopping to shop and to like escape. And I love shopping, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, but I was also neglecting my feelings. So I have like the wheel of emotions everywhere. A picture, I'm bored. I send it to everybody because that's for me, the biggest thing is just acknowledging your feelings, and kind of going with it and being uncomfortable, and that's okay.
I love it. I love the variety of answers we're getting here. Kenny, floor is
Yeah.
yours.
Like, but yeah, so this means as of this means so just as of this means so just doing so just but like mental like check-ins and that so this thing so this how I just like fail to as well my and then like what else I do and after that like so just in the past like my year or so too so I've as I mean so my I've also done but like lots of like gardening yeah you have to as well so
I like that. So we have like a whole little melange of like small things that everybody can do, check-ins, naming your emotions, having a small checklist of your own that this is things that I do to every day. I'm going to make sure I do them, or going outside of our comfort zone. So these are actually small consistent things that I feel like we can build. Like I think I'd like to pick and choose some of those. Um Okay, my next question is, can you share a time when your go-to self-care practice did not work and what you did instead? Whoever unmutes first goes. Kelly.
Okay, I'll go. Yeah, this is like every day. I'm gonna be completely real. All the time. It doesn't go as planned, and I think that just comes with life, right? And commitments. And my job, I have on-call components and kids with wild schedules, and and I think it kind of goes back to what I was previously saying about having those lists, right? I have to reprioritize my day all the time based on what comes into me. So yeah, just having those lists helps me really understand what I need to do, what I want to do, what I've already done, and what can be moved, right? So it really is about understanding what is important to me and the different aspects of my life. And that's how I kind of reset when things do not execute very well. And just being okay with that. And I think that's a lot of like requires a lot of self-talk to move deadlines. And so, yeah, when my self-care aspects don't go well because everything kind of flying at you, I kind of have to switch to that self-talk mode of it's okay. Here's what we're going to see. Let's go back to the lists and, take care of do my self-care through, self-talk, which is really important.
Yeah, I agree. That's good. Eddie, I knew you unmuted and then you muted, so I
No,
think
I just I was just gonna say just go to bed. So sometimes it's like, man, you try the things, you go down the list, you do your workout, you listen to the music, you watch the show. And I think to Kelly's point of just understanding that like tomorrow is a new day, right? Like there's some things you just got to let go. It's just, I can't fix this right now. I can't control this. I'm big on like control your biology. So make sure you've eaten something good for you. You've hydrated, like you're taking care of your actual biology, your body. And, and sometimes it's like, man, I'll just try again tomorrow. This just isn't,
tomorrow's a new day. Like this.
yeah, I'm not being facetious either. It's like sometimes it just doesn't pan out and you got to hit the reset button and figure it out tomorrow.
I like that. Everything doesn't have to be sorted out today. I like that. So Maria, Kenny, I didn't see who.
okay now go ahead Maria go ahead
Thanks. Um, yeah, I really like the acknowledgement of like not pushing yourself when you're going down the list of self-care stuff. And it is a lot of like fluctuating in the stages of my life and my emotions. So self-care does rapidly change. And when it's um not that it's not working, but when it's not like supporting me the way that I want or need, that's when I use distraction. To kind of what Eddie said around, like can't do anything about it today. Clearly it's not happening. Um, I already cried and that's okay. Um, and I'm gonna distract myself by watching reality TV, by, putting myself in a world that is not what I'm experiencing, and that's totally okay. And then I just start again tomorrow.
I like that. I like that a lot. Kenny.
Yeah, as I've missed one, but my like biggest thing is to just con con control what you can. Control. But yeah, so for me, so just as I but yeah, so me, so if I'm having as of just a like tough like the day but then yeah, so I just go to bed. Yeah, too as well. And then after that, and after suggest, and after that suggest, I'm figure it out. I'm day day like day like next like day day so yeah so.
I like that the most. I think it's just like, we put the stress on ourselves. It's just like as if we have to solve everything today, right now. And it shows a bit more faith in ourselves, I feel, when we're like, okay, you know what? I can think about this tomorrow. And sleep is a great way to cope with a lot of things. Like, you just have a good sleep, have a good cry, Maria, have a good, show, just get it all out. And then, yeah, I like that idea a lot. My next question is, when you're overwhelmed or struggling, what's the first signal you listen to in your body or mind? And I'm really curious to hear this because as a neurodivergent person, I feel like my body keeps giving signals and nobody's listening. So I just really want to know how other people do this.
I can go on this one, just kick us off. For me, when my I'm like overwhelmed and struggling, my signal is that I don't sleep well. So everyone's already alluded, like sleep is sort of that key thing you do when I'm not sleeping well. And I'm not a great sleeper to begin with, but I'm an okay sleeper. But when it goes and when it tanks or I wake up and then I can't get back to sleep because my brain's whirling in 1,000 different directions, that's when I know that, even if I'm not necessarily mentally feeling overwhelmed, my body is like showing those physiological like symptoms of that. And, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I've never seen anyone so proud of like her sleep schedule. This girl, like, there's such a culture of line, like staying up all night, and oh, I stayed up till midnight and got up at 5 and did this. Well, that's not good. Like, no one should be bragging about that. And I mean, if it works for you, fantastic. That wasn't a judgment thing. It's just, like, we don't need to. That's another myth to toss out, right? Like, sleep is so critical. And, I really have taken a page out of my daughter's book, and it's like, I don't need to stay up late or out late. I can actually just be like, it's 9, I'm gonna go to bed, and have a great night's sleep, and, really enjoy that time, especially that sleep before you get to midnight is so critical, to mental recovery and physical recovery. So yeah, sleep is the first thing to go and the first thing that I try to put back on track.
I like that. That's a very, very good indicator as well. Yeah. Uh, Kenny, Marie, I didn't see. Whoever goes, goes.
Penny, you can go this
Yeah.
time.
But as of me, so definitely, so just the but like mental like fog for sure. As I've missed so as I've missed so Wendy like small like task like feel I'm happy so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you on the mental fog. It's like
Mhm.
there. Oh, that's a really good indicator. Okay, I'm taking notes here. Like, yes.
Um, so for me and for somebody that, has gone through trauma and a lot of mental health struggles, the ability of having my power is crucial to anybody that has experienced trauma. And when I feel that people are taking that away in small parts, and there's the shoulds, right? The and sometimes people will say like that they know best of what I need. And when it starts to pile up, the first thing that um goes is that I start to cry. And not and like the worst times because I'm just so frustrated that I'm not being heard or I'm not being validated. And I just cry, and that's how I know. And I allow myself to cry. And um I own that, and I wanna like really acknowledge those pieces. Um because if I continue to feel the way that I feel, that goes into a downward spiral. And that's where the wheel of emotions really come into play, is identifying what I'm feeling. So it's the tears and the worst possible time when it's not somebody could say, "Hey Maria, how's it going?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's happening." And it it just happens and I allow that. And now I have that like signal or like yellow flag, and now I proceed mindfully as to what I need from a certain situation or like overall, um and yeah, kind of just use my coping skills.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's definitely a signal right there. And the fact that you know to note it is it's good. That's a muscle you've definitely learned to like flex or like notice over the years. Yeah. Good one. Eddie.
Uh, yeah, mine's obviously all of ours are very personal. I think to Maria's point, one thing that's really helped me is just starting with understanding. I'm very cognizant of my thought patterns. Like I try and catch myself to this point of like, one, you got to know your signals. You got to pay attention to when everybody mentioned like Kelly with her sleep, like it, once those things start getting off, you got to recognize them first. For me, I create enemies in my head. So I can, when I start do what I mean by creating enemies is like, oh, Kelly said this, or oh, Maria's doing this, man, Kenny. And it's like, once I start creating foes for me personally, it's like I start creating antagonists in my own life rather than me being able to solve my own problems. As soon as I start doing that, whether it's a friend, my partner, a colleague, like it starts happening. And the second I start doing it, it happens naturally. But once I recognize that I'm doing that thought pattern's existing, then I have to immediately jump into whatever self-care routines or CBT, or like things that I know that are going to pull me out of that mind space, or get a workout in, or watch the movie, or listen to the music, or do the things to pull me back. So I think I love this question, because I think a big gap for a lot of people, myself for a really long time, was I just didn't pay attention to signals. I didn't even know what they were. So that just perpetuated the problems that a lot of us have struggled with, is we're not paying attention to those red flags, or as Maria said, they're yellow first. So kind of catch it at yellow before it gets to red.
No, I like that a lot. And like you said, Eddie, like everybody has, it's a very personal question because everybody has their own ways and our own coping mechanisms, our own yellow flags. And I really like those answers. It was very, you know, as diverse as the group is. My next question is, what
Yeah.
role?
Can I just say something before I forget?
Go for it.
I want to also acknowledge Eddie and Kenny, like the representation of males with mental health and actually talking about it is very low. And the vulnerability and like, Eddie being mindful of like your thoughts and having that, taking the time to understand that, and Kenny, being so vulnerable and just always showing up as Kenny. I want to acknowledge that, because the world needs more male representation of it's okay to feel, it's okay to talk about self-care. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Maria. Shout out Kenny.
Yeah, thank you. And thank shout out to you, Teddy. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. I think that was
Yeah,
definitely
well said, Maria.
really, really well. And I wish I don't have the react icons over here, or else you would have seen all of those hearts coming up right now. But yes, I think that was, thanks, Maria. Very, very called for. My next question is, what role does movement, whether it's working out, walking, or just stretching, play in your mental health and your mental wellness? Callie's ready to go. Go.
Sure. Check all of the above, right? And it means something different for everybody. But I will say for me, the key to all of those activities is being engaged with my breathing. And that's what I find really helps to center me and help me get the most mentally out of whatever I'm doing, but also physically, right? So practicing like breathing techniques and stuff that either helps improve my strength or improves my range of motion. So I'm getting the most out of the actual exercise I'm doing, but also those mental benefits as well. So any of those, I think, are so critical to whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you happy. For me, it's any of those. But I have to figure out my breathing and how that works and how I can make the most of my time and energy.
Nice. I like that. Eddie.
I think I'm gonna have a toxic answer here, but I need to suffer. So I box, I do jujitsu. I'm very fortunate to have great communities of people that push me and challenge me physically. And I think that's, for me personally, that's a huge thing. Or if it's a workout or cardio or something, like that's how I quiet the demons. Need to go voluntarily suffer. I mean, Kenny's an Olympian. He gets it. We got to just grind away a little bit. And that's not for everybody. But I think the point of it, and to Kelly's point, maybe it is just some breathing exercises right now that can help you regulate. Maybe it's to Kenny's point earlier, going for a walk. Maybe for me, it's like going to train and just really putting it all out there and getting it all that emotion, all those negative thoughts out, whatever capacity it is. I want to be cognizant to Maria's point and not tell people shoulds, but I will say I highly recommend doing physical, whatever you're capable of, and that's different for everybody. And it means something different for everybody, but we do know the power of movement and what that does for wellness, right? So I think everybody on this call movement is critical for all of us. That's why we're here and how we got to where we are. But I think for those people listening in the audience, there's good enough is good enough. You got to find like a little walk, a little something, a stretch, a breathing exercise, or all the way to like a hard training session. Doing something will make you feel better. It will. So force yourself to do it. You're never going to want to.
I agree. I think for me personally, I think movement is medicine for me. It's worked that way. Canadian winters are long and harsh. And if there's no movement, I think I would just become like a statue probably. I'd just become really, really not doing anything. So for my mental health, my physical movement is really important. Maria, you have something to say.
So kind of one of the things that I noticed that I need to really focus on is what Kelly said around the breathing. Turns out I just forget to breathe. Because I'm just like so overwhelmed and it just feels like an elephant just in my chest and I just like stop breathing. And not that it's like intentional. I think it's just like my body is doing the fight, flight, or freeze. And to kind of like what Eddie mentioned, the comment around like the like toxic piece, right? It actually isn't, because pain for a lot of people in a controlled way helps with the emotional pain. And I was an elite gymnast for years. And that sport, that's why I've had 3 ankle reconstructions. And that the sport is painful. And that obviously the passion for the sport, but the ability to also just take a break from the emotional pain that I was like struggling with. And so like it's not like you're doing it in a very controlled environment, acknowledging and doing it in like a harm reduction way and that like safer. And it's also around like both things can coexist at the same time. And it could be, the smallest thing, like breathing. It's not small, but you need to breathe, and I'm working on it. But I also go with things that are painful, just breathe. And that's okay. And that's not, it doesn't make you a bad person, or it doesn't make you like that something wrong with you or that you're doing anything wrong. It's about like the approach. And I wish that right now physical movement is, I want it. I'm craving it. I just want to crack my back and feel okay. But it's the little things that improve my mental health.
Didn't realize I was muted. We should know this by now. I agree with you, Maria, and everything that you just said. And Kenny, it's over to you.
Yeah, but for me, so as a definitely a big role for sure. But yeah, it's about to just but like a year or two ago now. But yeah, but I share to am I like I'm a story how um yeah, but I would just like sports where my like way way um uh way to communicates growing up with alien as just with a that's that is for me. But but yeah, but definitely a I'm a my big like I'm a my role for sure. So
Nice. So yes, so we've got all forms of physical activity for there, pushing ourselves as far as we can, or just remembering to breathe. It can be anywhere in between the two and really what works for you. I just want to remind our audience that we are at the 12:48 mark and we will be wrapping up soon. So if anybody has any questions, we do have the Q&A box where you can write your questions and we will be answering them. But in the meantime, I'm just going to continue asking the questions we already have for our panelists over here. So my next question is, in a culture that glorifies hustle and productivity, how do you personally make space to slow down without guilt? And in Kelly, your case, and I don't know if anybody else has children. If you do, then this is also for you. But like, how do you balance the demands of self-care versus having children and demanding schedules? So it really seems to be like a lot more, especially once you're a parent.
Sure, I can answer this from that parent perspective, and I think, or I hope, anyways, that people are starting to understand that being sort of that superhuman, always hustling to do everything and to be like perfect at everything and attend every little event is actually taking away from some bigger or better experiences. So I can give an example. Like I have two kids with, wild schedules. They happen to be competitive athletes, but there's, kids are just busy now, social lives, extracurriculars, and then we have our jobs and we have everything in between. And sometimes managing my kids' schedules is almost like a part-time job because they're not old enough to drive themselves anywhere. So, juggling it all and figuring it all out. And just last weekend, we were away at the Canadian Championships, and my daughter's division finished on the Sunday at 1. I had to be back home, so it's like 7 hours from where I live, like a drive. I had to be back home for Monday morning and ready to start my week, and my daughter needed to be home too. But my son's division wasn't finishing until after 8 o'clock. So it's like, what do you do as a parent, and how do you manage this? And for me, it's always about like just communicating and being honest and seeing also what they want, right? Like this isn't a run-of-the-mill tournament. This was a big deal. So I pulled my son aside and said, listen, here's some options. You can have like a mom who's going to be like not able to function, and because I'm going to have to pull an all-nighter driving home for the rest of the week, I'm going to be kind of out of commission, which is going to mess up certain things. Or, I can go home and get home actually before you probably even start and watch it on TV, but I want to do what you think is best, right? And having those honest conversations really takes away all of that guilt of like I have to do it all as a human and as a parent. And it's great. And having those conversations makes it really easy. Because he was like, whatever, do whatever you want, mom. Like, my husband was up, we weren't leaving him alone, just to be clear. My husband was going to stay with him. They didn't have to leave until Monday morning. So, it all worked out really well. And, I'm now able, my husband's obviously a bit tired now. So I'm able to kind of, run the show this week and pick up the slack here and there with the kids because, everything worked out a little bit more reasonably, on my end. So I think for me, like just that hustle and bustle and balancing my own needs and the family needs and that glorification of hustle and productivity is really more about that honest communication with who's impacted by the decisions that I need to make, right? And once you have those conversations, not only are you teaching them that it's okay to have those tough conversations, you're also everyone's on the same page. Nobody's expectations are, you know, over here and you're actually doing this. And I really do think that makes a huge, huge difference for me anyways, and how I handle the demands. I don't have to be everywhere. They just have to know that I'm happy for them, that they're doing what they love, and I'm there to support them in any way that I can. But I just might not be physically present.
I think that's a really good answer. And I like how you exemplified it with a story for us to be able to like understand. And then I really like that. And those honors conversations. Kenny, Maria, you're both unmuted, so I don't know who wants to go.
You go ahead, Maria.
Okay, so hear me out, because this is a very like opposite response. I I am my own expert, and the also glorification and that push on people to self-care, get a hobby, stop working, just like relax is to me personally like very harmful. And I get this quite a bit because one, I'm a workaholic and that's totally okay. Because I love my job. And also it is part of who I am with having mental health, right? So that's like my world in one. And I get a lot of like, Maria, like, just breathe. Like, you don't have to always be go, go, go. And I don't see how that is okay to say when I'm saying I'm fine. I am my own expert. I know when I burn out. I know exactly when I burn out for my job. That's every 2 to 3 years on the dot. I have like multiple jobs on like the same field. Like I'm just very passionate about what I do. And this is also my hobby because I get to like play around and make a difference and come up with different things. And it makes my heart feel full, and it makes me feel like 12-year-old Maria would need this so badly for somebody to be what I'm doing and being open about it. So it is kind of both, can definitely coexist, and it can also be harmful for just people in society to tell somebody like myself, where I'm saying I'm fine. I don't want a hobby. I don't understand, why would I want a hobby? I don't, I don't want a hobby. But the push, and it's like I get it from like my friends, my partner just wanting me to breathe, and I'm like I'm okay. This is what I like to do. And asking before saying is crucial, right? Like asking, hey, can I ask you something? Is working, 2 jobs realistic for you? Is this something that you could potentially burn out? And asking that with consent instead of pushing. Um, there's a huge difference. So it is controversial. Like I totally
Well, I don't think it's controversial. I think it's I just like that there are opposing views, and that's perfectly fine. What works for someone and it doesn't have, that's the thing. It's not a one size fits all, and that's why we're asking these questions to understand as many views as we can. Kenny, I believe you're next.
Yeah. But yes, for me, so definitely so just but like my patience part for sure. And after that, that's as of just knowing, as of just that like some things they take like time as well too. My my and after these also suggest but like a that's my celebrating day like small like wins too as well. So
Yeah, I like that. Taking your time and then also celebrating your wins. I like that. I like that a lot. Eddie, over to you.
Uh, yeah, I'll be short here because I know we're tight on time. With the hustle and productivity, I actually like everybody's opinions are, and I do think there's space for all of it. Like I think, I mean, I get to work with Kelly, and I know that she gets after it as hard, if not harder than almost anyone I know when it comes to work stuff. So finding that balance both ways is critical. And I think that one thing that stood out to me is like make space to slow down without guilt. It's like, well, if you're feeling guilty for slowing down, to Maria's point, it's like it's so individualized. If you're getting after it and you're pushing yourself because that's what you want to do and you're doing it for you, then that's the right choice. If you're feeling guilty, it's like, well, who are you feeling guilty for people on Instagram? Like comparing yourself to what it's like, who cares? Like I think that's the key point is if you feel guilty about slowing down or not hustling as hard, it's like, well, do you feel bad because is the guilt coming from, you could be doing better for yourself and better for the people in your life that you're going to be impacting? Okay, then fair enough. Maybe that guilt has a place, right? But if you feel guilty because you're not doing as much as what somebody's pretending to do on Instagram, it's like, well, then maybe you should take some time to reevaluate what really matters to you and who you're living your life for. Because I do think I know the beginning questions were some stuff about Instagram, and I think this one applies to it a lot, or not Instagram, social media. But the guilt thing is interesting because I hear people talk about it. And I'm not trying to, just in my experience, I see it a lot with men is like they're pulled to a standard of like financial gains and what they're doing. And it's like they're pushing and pushing. And it's like, man, if you're making an impact, if you're making an impact on the people around you, to Kelly's point, like, I don't know, I raised girls and I would get frustrated seeing people on Instagram talk to me about the 3-hour morning routine where I need to meditate and do this and it's like, man, I've got 3 screaming girls right now that like, I'm not doing any of that, right? If I survive this morning, that's a win, right? So I think that it's just really figuring out what is best for you and really taking the time though to understand what that is. And it's going to be different for everybody, and not worrying about what people you don't really know think about how you're living your life is pretty empowering.
I agree. And I love that. And I love the, diverseness of our responses that we got right now, because it's really everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own the way they respond to things. So we really need to choose what is best for us and our own best response. So because we're really on time now, before we wrap up, I would like to mention that at Unsinkable, we have a nationwide presence to support workplace mental health. And it is our umbrella flagship program called Unsinkable at Work. You can contact me. I'm going to just put in my email address in the chat over here for everybody. And it's Afreina@weareunsinkable.com. If you would like to learn more about how we can organize a training, workshop, or a talk on mental health at your workplace. And before we end this discussion, I want to thank the many people on the Unsinkable team who have made today's event possible. And that is in no particular order: Taylor, Jerusha, and Mike. And on that note, I would like to thank our esteemed panelists and you, the audience, for coming out today and attending. The recording of this talk will be uploaded on our YouTube channel probably early next week. On that note, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you all, panelists, for being here today. Have a good afternoon, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
everyone.
You.
Thank you very much.
Bye.